Good evening, good afternoon, folks. We'll wait for a few minutes for a few folks to come in, and then we'll start the show. Just a few more minutes, folks, and we'll go ahead and start the show here. Have your morning coffee. If you're out there, be safe. Stay away from people. I hate to say it like that, but stay away from people you see these days. Folks don't know how to cover their mouth when they're coughing. They don't know how to recognize when they're sick. Stay away from them folks. Social distancing is the best thing to do right now. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Music here, and welcome to another music rant. Well, I won't really call this a rant there, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just call this, as I heard one of those YouTube guys say it, correction and constructive criticism, that should be. And, I looked at the title before I came on, and I was trying to figure out what should I talk about today. What is my purpose here today? What do I need to speak on today? And I think when you feel like you're under attack, or when you feel that you need to correct someone, you start at the simplest of things. Well, in this case, we all know who we are referring to, the SYSBMs and the masculine mercenaries. But the masculine mercenaries is the first set that I want to address here. Now, let's look at their title. Okay. We go to the word mercenary. We go to the word masculine. And if you look it up in the dictionary, I'm sure you folks can follow along on your in your Google. If you go ahead and type in your Google and type up the definition of masculine, it says having qualities or appearances traditionally associated with men, especially in strength and aggressiveness. Okay, considered masculine. Also, masculinity is a set of attributes that and behaviors and roles associated with it, boys and men. Okay, so we've covered that part of it. So far, the acronym that they're using to describe themselves, the first part of it would be right, because there is a bunch of boys and men over there in those spaces. Absolutely right about that. But now let's get to the other part, the part that I find that's most important. And this should be for those guys that follow them, because I don't think they quite understand what the meaning of mercenary is. Now, if we pull up mercenary in the dictionary, it tells you exactly what it means. A person, let me get it correctly. Let me pull it up correctly there. Mercenary, of persons and their behaviors, primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. I'll say that again. Of a person, of their behaviors, primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. Isn't that exactly what goes on over there when you go into those spaces and you hear these people screaming and yelling obscenities at other black men, especially at other black women? Hey there, Lady Neek. How you doing? Good to see you. Isn't that what they do? So the facade of them already using the word masculine and adding it to mercenary, it does not work. That's an oxymoron. A mercenary does not care about the people. All he's concerned with is lining his pockets. He goes to the highest bidder. Usually a mercenary is someone really not affiliated with the military that will go in and kill a bunch of people for a bunch of money. Now let's equate that back to SYSBM and the mercenary set that they call them set over there. Isn't that exactly what they're doing? Isn't that how they look at it? If you sit into one of their sessions and you listen to them talk, isn't that how they speak? At the expense of other people? Don't they go around trashing black communities at the expense of other people, hoping somebody will donate to their Patreon or hit them up in the link or send them some money through their Cash App? No matter what they just said to disparage a black person, a black woman, black man, black child. I was in one of these platforms the other day, a couple of days ago, and these gentlemen all but called me a child of God just because I defended a black woman. That's what mercenaries do. They don't care who they assault. They don't care who they disrespect as long as they're getting paid for it. So I say to those masculine missionary, whatever y'all call yourself over there, masculine mercenaries, I suggest that you change your title. I suggest that you look for a better way to describe yourself. Because it doesn't take a whole lot of G2 to figure out that that doesn't work. They're taking the word masculine and using it as a tool to enhance what they do over there. That's how they lure these unsuspecting young men. See, exactly there, lady. That's how they lure these unsuspecting young men to their camps. I'll take a prime example of that, folks. Remember that you guys all remember the DC sniper and how when John Malvo convinced this young kid that to do his bidding. And he was kind of, as you say, give him the masculine approach. But we all know that the DC sniper, his ultimate goal was to kill a woman. He used this child and he used other people to get to his ultimate goal of killing the woman that he felt that did him some wrong. He came up with this elaborate plan, just what a mercenary does. Masculine mercenaries. So I guess in a way they are describing themselves correctly. They are absolutely right about what they say when they call themselves masculine mercenaries, because they don't care who sends them money. They don't care who drops something in their pockets as long as they're getting paid for it. They don't care to what effect or how it hurts or how it affects someone. These guys don't understand the fact that words mean a lot. If a weak-minded person comes into those broadcasts with any idea of treating a woman with respect and dignity, he will lose that. Hey, Zero, how you doing? He will lose that aspect of his life within the first 15 to 20 minutes of being in one of those sets, because that's exactly what they do. No matter the woman that comes in there, no matter the man that comes in there to defend these people, to defend our way of life. That's right, Zero. You have to put the pieces together. You have to go back to the smallest thing. You have to go back and ask these guys, why did you decide to use the name masculine mercenary? Did you not go to the dictionary first and see that those two words should not be together? Did you not do that? Again, masculine mercenary. Mercenary, folks. If you didn't hear the definition, I'll read it for you again. Mercenary, of persons, of their behavior, primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. Isn't it unethical when these guys go into these rooms, into these spaces, these manosphere spaces, and these SYSBM spaces, and all these other little cliques that they have to pretty much lambaste black life? Now, let me go back and let me say this, folks. Is there a problem in the black community? Do we have a low underbelly of people in the black community? Of course we do. That's men and women. Of course we do. There's no doubting that. But that way of correction and construction is the wrong way that we do it. These guys believe that as long as they can insult somebody and get some money for it, they're good. That's obvious. That's been obvious to me. I haven't been around these sectors too long, on the good side or the bad side. But as a layman person coming in, common sense would tell me, as a grown black man, this is not the correct way to do it. Yeah, you can tell someone about their faults, especially if they put it out in the open. Yeah, you can tell them about them. But also there is a way to tell that person, maybe you should think about doing this a different way, or maybe you should do this way, and not belittle them in the same process. Prime example, I like to call names because I don't want anyone to think or to guess whether I'm speaking of them. And there seems to be a couple leaders over there that these folks follow, i.e. the main one would be the Angry Man, and the other would be BGS. Now, I've spoken with BGS. I had admiration for BGS until he showed his true colors. Until he decided to call himself and his buddies setting up a intervention and an ambush for someone like me. Who are you? Who sent you here? Well, let's listen to BGS and his attitude about the coronavirus and what he thinks that black women will do once the coronavirus is over and done. This is absolutely ludicrous, folks. I cannot believe that I sat back and listened to this more than once. This guy, and he has his followers believing that once the coronavirus takes its course and the country gets back to some semblance of normalcy, that black women will be falling over their asses to go pick up and find a black man to live with. They act like this coronavirus is only affecting black women. That this was a disease that was put on this earth, or this was a virus that was put on this earth to correct black women, to send them back to the folds of the black man. This coronavirus gave them a dose of act right. But the thing about it is some of the things that he said, folks, that really will get you to understand why I'm on this side of the track. Let's listen.
Well, I had a request about what's happening with the virus that's happening right now, the lockdown that
Hey crew, how you doing, my
the
man?
United States is going through.
Jay Shine, what's
I
good, brother?
would do it as a morning talk. He wanted to know how these events are going to affect, or should affect, relationships. Like most black swan events in crisis, it actually brings people together because people are worried about their own safety and security. So those minor petty differences that we normally have will kind of get pushed aside.
First, let me address that part of it. This is not that type of virus. This is not a virus that brings people together. This is the type of virus that you stay around your own people. You quarantine yourself to your own house. You quarantine yourself to around the people that you normally deal with. You don't go out into the public. Big difference, BGS.
They're very good at that. Black women especially. And I already have reports coming in about, as Dr. Johnston calls it, those daddy calls. Women need security or want security in a crisis. But nothing happens overnight unless you get hit by a meteor or something like that. But nothing happens overnight. And with the initial so-called lockdown or limitations that we're under, most people have said it was going to be from about 2-3 weeks, right? So since kids are out of school for a couple of weeks, women are nervous, but they're not scared. They figure a couple of weeks they can ride it out. They might get behind on a few bills or whatnot, but the thing is, eventually they will catch up when they come back to work, right? So women are concerned, they're not really worried, and they're definitely not scared because they think that it's going to get back to normal in a couple of weeks. Like I mean, that's going to depend on how long this goes on. If it goes on like a month, and the women have a month without pay, you're going to see a very, 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 I would say, severe attitude adjustment. Whereas it goes on a month, they're afraid it might happen again, even though they will probably get back to what we consider normal, but they'll be behind. They owe people money and whatnot, right? So that will actually entice them to look for support. And when I
So, folks, did you get the crust of what he was saying? Again, he's speaking that this coronavirus is only affecting black women. So it will entice them once this is over with in about 2 or 3 weeks, as he said. Somebody gave him a doctorate to tell these folks that over there. In 2 or 3 weeks, these women will be so hard up for the number one, the affections of a man and the protection of a man and the economics of a man that they'll fall over them in droves. Well, he used the word normalcy. Now, these same guys, their normal thing is to talk about black women. So they haven't strayed very far from that. The normal thing will happen that these same black women that are locked down in these houses, even after the coronavirus is over and done, it takes its course, it's taking people out, they're still not going to mess with these guys. They're still not going to fall over to the manosphere and SYSBM chat room and saying, "Ooh, you know what? The coronavirus taught me that I need you guys. I'm glad it didn't affect none of y'all. We don't know where we would have been without the manosphere. I'm glad you guys survived. You masculine mercenaries, you."
say support, that probably means a man. Even lesbian women know that if they want support, they want to be taken care of, they got to look for a man. So their attitudes are going to be better coming out of the crisis anyway. One way or the other, their attitudes are going to be better. If it goes on longer than a month, the attitude's going to be a lot better. If it goes on like the 4 months that they're talking about going into the July, it will be a very severe attitude adjustment. And you're going to have to be really, really careful about who you allow into your circle. Because a lot of times it won't be because she likes you, is that you're secure. So you're going to have real strict rules. You're going to have a real strict vetting process. And you're going to have to make sure that you're going to get something out of this. It's going to be definitely quid pro quo. So for you guys that like the trick, you're going to have basically the world's going to be your oyster, especially after the lockdown, because they're going to be hella bored. And then,
did you hear that? The world will be your oyster, especially after the lockdown. For all the y'all excuse my language, ladies that's out there in the audience, and those of you who hear this later on, but I'm gonna kind of translate exactly what this guy said. After the lockdown, these women will be so desperate that for those of us that haven't gotten any pussy since the Million Man March, it's our time. It is our time now. If you got some money to spend on coochie, this will be the best time to spend it. Because these women, they're not coming in there for security. They're not coming to you because they love you. They're coming there just to get some of your money. So you got to have a special vetting process to discern which women's like you and which women's only want your money. And if it's none of them over here, we're going to go across the water and find us one. By a stove, by a refrigerator. I'm in like Flint. But you understand the crust that this is one of their high chains of command. This BGS guy. This is one of their high chains of command. When I've gone into their spheres, their little circles, I hear this guy speaking to them as if he is Lim and the supreme angel. He's dangerous. His thought process is dangerous. His way of thinking is dangerous. If you were to sit down with this man in a one-on-one conversation, sooner or later, he will tell you that the reason the way he is and the way he has such a disregard for black women is what one particular black woman did to him. Not the world of black women, just this particular one. Chances are this guy is probably still holding on to the last vestiges of that's my woman. Chances are he's painted himself in a box so much that a woman with any intelligence or any self-esteem about her will not deal with these kinds of males. Although they appear masculine, they also tell you that I am a mercenary and I have no allegiance to anyone. I will talk trash or I will talk about anyone as long as the money is there. That's why they don't want these guys peeking down in the chat room when they're on these panels, because there might be something down there that they have to dispute. That's why when they invite you to their panels, they don't want you there unless you agree with them. It goes against the narrative of what they're teaching. Again, I haven't been around these spaces very long. And a smart man understands something. You never go into battle without studying your enemy first. So that's what I did. As long as I was in their spaces not saying anything, as long as I was in their spaces nodding my head or being quiet, they had no problem with me. Hey man, we checked out your talent. You got a good radio station. That's what I heard from those guys. What's going on, brother? But as soon as that young lady pointed out that somebody was down in that chat room disparaging her, and I spoke up about it, all of a sudden, holy sheep shit. We got an infiltrator in here. Who sent you here? Why are you here?
Want to have hella fun. If you can provide it, the world's your oyster. Goes on longer than that, that's security, because they're going to be scared. And women that are scared run to safety. If it goes on like 4 months, then you have a lot of people that are laid off. A lot of people are already laid off. A lot of people are already going to be in debt. Some of those jobs won't be coming back. A lot of those jobs may be automated by the time they get back. There might not be a position. So you're going to have a big session of musical chairs. Women trying to find a seat. What men need to do is make sure that their shit is in order, that they have a job, that they're secure, that you have a way of bringing in funds. Ain't no good if you're broke.
Hey, I will agree with that part of it there, BGS. Two broke folks in a house don't do nothing but argue. As a matter of fact, folks, if you go look at the latest statistics, police are responding to more domestic dispute calls than ever before during this coronavirus. If you want to find out how strong your relationship is, now is the time to test it, because instead of going to work for 8 hours, spending that hour driving to work, spending that hour driving from work, you're out of the house at least 10 hours a day. So in that particular relationship, you're away from that person at least 10 to 12 hours a day, not counting sleep. But now, due to this coronavirus, you can actually find out how strong your relationship is because you're in each other's spaces damn near 24/7. The thing about it is, he was saying just now, like a black man having a job or a black man having money is some kind of novelty. Like it's something that black men don't normally do. We don't normally work. We don't normally have money. We don't normally have bank accounts. We don't normally save for rainy days. You should only do this just in case of emergency. That's the teachings that they promulgate over there, folks. That's the teachings that they push out in front of these guys. Instead of him saying in that very same sentence, there were several ways that he could have gone with his dissertation. I'll use a big word because they like to throw them in there from time to time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with telling people, listen, after the coronavirus, a lot of your jobs are not going to be there. That's men and women. After the during the coronavirus, if you were those people that lived from paycheck to paycheck, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. If you have some savings somewhere, or if you have some money somewhere, be prepared to use that for some good after this coronavirus is over. Not to go out and buy some pussy. You know, I've always thought, me personally, I think that if a man doesn't have the gift of gab to, how do you say, sweet talk the girl out of her underwear, then somebody needs to pull his man card. If you could visualize the SYBM and the Manosphere space, can't you imagine all these guys in there with the pocket pen protectors, with the Poindexter glasses on, looking around to wait for BGS or what's the other guy over there, Angry Man, to say something that would enlighten their day? Can't you just see them all sitting around saying, I wonder what he's going to say next? I don't get this idea of teaching black men to hate black women. Hey, Shar, how you doing? I don't get this idea of it. You know, of course, if I would allow one of them to come into this space right now, don't you guys think instead of speaking calmly, I would already be in an uproar? I would already be in an argument? Isn't that one of the very first things that you notice when you go over to their spaces? If they're not arguing with you, they're arguing with each other. They're making videos about each other instead of making videos about how we could better ourselves as a black community as a whole. You have these guys over there preaching individualism, leave the collective, so to speak. And once you get on, fuck the collective. Go to the next country. And again, I'm still using some of the terminology that I've picked up since I've been around some of you guys. Go over to some of these dirty foot countries. Go into the slums and the ghettos. Find you a girl in there, flash your money, and then you can come back with some war stories to share with your guys. Man, I went to Panama and I slept with 7 girls and it only cost me $3.35. Oh man, I'm going over there. To use the coronavirus to tell these guys, be prepared for some good times ahead after the coronavirus is done. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that one statement. Doesn't that describe these mercenaries? Exploiting people for their money? Isn't that what they're doing? What what disheartens me so much, folks, is when I go over there to their spaces and I see black women agreeing with them. You might as well stick your head through the screen, turn to the left a little bit, and let one of those guys, BGS or Angry Man, slap the shit out of you. Because that's basically what it is. They're talking about you. As a woman, how do you separate yourself from another woman when someone's talking about women as a whole? Well, see, again, Short, that's another narrative that they use. They have their right to have these spaces to where they can speak freely. But again, I always look at this rights things that we have the freedom of speech. I say this freedom of speech ends at the tip of your finger. Anything that floats past that is subject to observation, criticism, or anything else that particular person. You can't say something and tell a person how to react to it. You cannot. And that's what they do. If you come to their space and if you don't react to what they say the way they expect you to, all of a sudden you are a enemy of the state over there. Now, I was listening to the young brother in the chat last night, Jay Shine. You, my friend, would probably be their worst enemy. I've listened to Cerulean. You, my friend, will probably be one of their worst enemies. I've listened to Just DeAndre. You, my friend, will probably be one of their worst enemies because when you guys talk, you understand that there is an element of our black society that needs correction. But let's find a better way to correct them. And that's on both sides. That's men and women. Because there's some derelict Negroes out there. I got you, Cerulean. There's some derelict Negroes out there. And there's some low class women out there as well. We see them everywhere. They're posted on the TV. They're posted on ads. We all remember, think about it. If you go back to the early 90s and you ask somebody about Little Kim, what's the first thing that they'll tell you? Oh, yeah, I remember her in the leopard print bikini. They can't talk about her music too much, but they do remember that. These guys are, to me, from my observation of them, these are the guys that we saw at the proms, at the school dances, in the clubs, that we call them wallflowers. They weren't sure of how to go and ask a woman to dance, or they were afraid that if they did go ask that woman to dance, they would have to come back to their friends and take the walk of shame. I told you she wasn't going to dance with you, man. Not realizing there's 100 other women in the club. One of them just might want to dance with you. Not realizing there's hundreds of other girls in the high school that you could have asked to go to the prom with, but you chose one that might have been a little bit out of your league. And these guys run around talking about, I was the prom king. I was the man. Well, if you were the man, why do you act the way you do now? You have them saying such things like, well, all we need to do is train these women to be submissive. And once we get them to being submissive, that way we can have our way with them. We can form a society that these women will only do our bidding and no one else. That's the kind of woman we need up under us. We don't need a free thinking, smart black woman. We can't have that. We can't have that at all. Again, these guys always talk about the worst part of what happened to us. not realizing that, as it comes down to slavery, again, as I said, black women endured the same hell that black men did. Actually, sometimes the black woman was more psychologically damaged by what was happening to the black man, because they didn't pull a black woman out of the a hut, strap him to a mule or a horse, and rip his body apart. They did that to the strongest black man in the area, while black women and black children watched. Now that may seem kind of harsh, but think about this psychologically. Wouldn't that be something that you remembered for the rest of your life? Wouldn't that be a reason for you as a black mother to protect your black child at all costs, especially if he's a son? They always say, well, black women always throwing black man under the bus, like black men don't throw each other under the bus. Prime example of some of these very same guys that they use. Look at Jay-Z and Damon Dash. They ain't throwing each other under the bus. Look at what's the guy's name? The comedian, the little short guy, Money Mike, and Kevin Hart. They didn't throw each other under the bus. God rest his soul. Look at Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. They didn't throw each other under the bus. I actually mentioned the difference, the difference between being called Uncle Tom and Sambo. There's an argument about that. Not realizing what he had been convincing folks, because you guys hear it all the time. He ain't nothing but an Uncle Tom. You're patting that man on the back. You're giving him that's good. That's good that you're Uncle Tom, because Uncle Tom was not for slavery. He thought it was vile. He thought it was something against human rights. Well, I don't know how to address that comment, Shore, that they say that black women chose the welfare system over black men themselves. I would say it's a twofold thing. Of course, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. In the 70s, black folks, we were just really starting to get our rights as far as this country is concerned. Remember, in the early 70s, that's when they started desegregating schools and different things like that. That was a slow process. So along with that, it came, more laws. Usually, in most cases, directed towards black men, as they call them, vagrancy laws, that it would pick us up for anything. Put you in jail without proper representations, or in some cases, you didn't have the money to make bail. You sat there for months. Lost your job. What is that woman to do? Especially if she has kids there. What is she supposed to do? Now, just as the young man said last night, I don't agree with all the parameters of child support, but I do think in some cases it's a necessary evil. Just with anything, something that starts out as something good to help the community usually ends up twisted, because we allowed it to be that way. I think a lot of our women chose child support over trying to repair their relationship. And a lot of our men took that personal, that you actually went to the man to tell me how much money I have to give my children. And those are two very natural reactions that you would get from anybody, whether you're black, white, or green. And that thing of black women being the only folks on welfare, that's virtually impossible. You would not create a system to where it would only help 13% of the population. Just by the numbers alone, white folks are the most people on welfare. But again, they won't tell you that over at the Manosphere. They won't tell you that over at SYBM. They won't tell you that over at those other places, because that goes against their narrative. That goes against everything that they teach and preach over there. it's the black woman's fault. I went to the barbershop and got a haircut. He didn't cut my hair to want to. He must have been talking to a black woman on the phone. I went to the store and they didn't have the right things that I needed. That must have been a black woman. Didn't stock the shelves right. It's always a black woman's fault. It's always something that the black woman did to cause the problem in my life. So the best thing that I could do, instead of addressing what I did wrong, here comes that mercenary part out about me again. That I'll create a space to where people will pay me to combat what I think is right. If you go into these spaces, about every 15, 20 minutes or so, you hear these guys saying, make sure you hit that link. Yo, y'all got to pay for this talk. Oh, I'm going to cut the stream, man. I'm going to cut the stream. I'm going to cut the stream because I see 300 people in the chat room and I only got 2 likes. A lot of things that these folks over here in these particular sects do, they go over to the other side of the world, white world, and they find out how white man is disparaging us. And they bring that back. And they use that very same white supremacist tactic against their own people. You're on welfare. White folks ain't on welfare. You cheated on me. White women don't cheat on their husbands. Well, all she do is argue. White women don't argue with their husbands. Then they attack black men saying, you know, all black men, all we do is kill and shoot each other. Well, that has nothing to do with with killing and shooting each other. That's called your environment. Most criminals by nature are lazy. So he's not going to go 500 miles to rob somebody. He's going to rob the person that's closest to him. He's not going to travel to Cincinnati to rob somebody in South Carolina. Let's get back and let's finish up this little bit of this BGS, whatever he calls this, that he's doing.
No good if you're begging, because the women won't be able to help you. And they're going to be looking for help, not giving help. So I would say, just as a morning talk, that you wanted the women to come back to the table. You wanted them to have an attitude adjustment. Okay, you're getting your wish. I also said, if it did come and it did come like that, you might not like it. You might not like the circumstances that it comes under. So I always used to tell guys, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And black men have wished for this for so long and so hard, they got it. You got what you wished for, but do you like the package that it came in? Now, like I said, if it only lasts 2 weeks to a month, it's all to the good.
What black man wishes that the disease would come to the United States to force black women to come back to the table? What black man in his right mind wishes that? Those are the talking points over there, folks. This is of March 21st, 2020. This is not something that came from the 70s that you didn't know better. This was just a couple days ago, couple weeks ago. This is his thought process. Vet these women that's coming back to the table. Make sure that's what you want. Never once did he say, man, you know what, fellas, what I think you should do is really, you know, go out and find a woman that suits your taste, your fancy. Go out and develop a real relationship to where you don't have to spend money to get sex. Go out and find a real relationship to where you don't have to spend money to have someone to talk to. Go out and find a real relationship with a partner or a friend of yours that y'all can go out and shoot some basketball and don't have to sit in the YouTube space and drop your hard-earned money on some bullshit information. You might as well go to some of the churches for that crumpled up dollars waiting for you. Ooh, excuse me, Creflo. But I think, to me, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the lowest form of human being is somebody that will shit on his own kind. Even those folks that revered and revered Donald Trump is starting to turn on him. They see him for exactly what he is. And that's exactly my point here. We see you SYSBM, save your black self, black men. And that's another thing. It's not save yourself, black men. It's save yourself, black man. Individuality is what they preach over there. Get your shit and go. When you need a woman, make sure you got some money in your pocket. You know, I don't hang out in the club scenes as I used to, but I do remember this, that the cat that was running around the club flashing the money, he wasn't the guy that was chose at the end of the night. He usually was the guy that would sit back complaining, man, I spent all my damn money and I gotta go home to empty arm hotel by my damn self. And this nigga walked out with the good looking one. Money don't buy you love, folks. Might buy you a trip to the bedroom, but it don't buy you love. Might buy you a 15-minute pat on the back saying, man, I waxed that ass. Come back and tell your partners about it. And they revere you as King Tut or whatever because you went out and bought some coochie. Well, if that's your life, if that's the life that you want to live, hey, if you like it, I love it. But don't get upset with someone and start talking about their mother like y'all did me, like y'all do other folks when you're painted in a corner and somebody start busting you in your ribs and busting you upside your mouth and snatching the words that you think that's impressive and breaking them down to it and F or war. You can't handle the heat, so you tell the broadcaster to cut the stream. Or you go around making idle threats that you're going to come see somebody. They got a word for that. Punks. Punks. Loudmouths. Yazzabosses. Coons. Weak-minded men. That you allow another man to choose your destiny. That you allow another man to shape the way you think. That you allow another man to, as they say, rob you of your blessings. That's basically what I see over in those spaces. You have a couple of guys that come over there and they get on these soapboxes, these yellow journalists, these muckrakers, these soothsayers that think they can predict the future. Shade tree guys is what they call them. They look for a place to rest for a little while. When it gets hot, they look for some shade. Shade tree analysts is what I call them. These guys have, I don't want to say, but this is what I've heard. They get on these spaces and they brag about their criminal record. They brag about the girl that they popped upside the head. They brag about the woman that they forced into a sexual situation that she didn't want to have. Well, if she would have submitted to me, that wouldn't have happened. This is the kind of stuff that they preach over there. They don't talk about financials. They don't talk about finances. their own, hitting that like button. They don't talk about how to better their community, their own, hit that like button. They don't talk about what's the best insurance for a certain age of black people. They don't hit that like button. It's so much to the point that they're not even convinced of what they're saying is correct, that once they're through with their rants, they pull their stream down so no one else can hear it. This is for my fans only. This is for the SYBM and Manosphere folks only. And if you want to hear the replay, come give me $19.95 a month and you can listen to it again. Mercenary. Do y'all need me to read the definition again? Of a person or their behaviors primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. That's what they do. And there's no disputing that. There's absolutely no disputing that. If you guys want to come on, any of you have the link down there. If you want to jump on in and give us a few comments, or you want to have something to add to the panel by any, let me put this link right here down in the chat room. You guys are more than welcome to jump on in and have your say so here. I'd like to hear whether you agree with me or whether you disagree with me. It's always good to have other opinions. So I'm going to put the link down in the chat room. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you are more than welcome to join in. We're equal opportunity around here. So there's the link down in the chat room for those of you that want to join in. Come on in and introduce yourself, and we'll sit back and we'll chop it up. And I'm going to end this stream probably in about another 20 minutes or so. I have another interview that I need to do right after this concerning with the radio station. So if you guys want to come on in, jump on in. But in the meantime, let's go back and listen to some more of BGS, as I call him, bullshit artists.
You get an attitude adjustment, it'll have scared black women enough to where they're willing to comply and cooperate. It won't change her basic programming, but it will modify it. Like software can modify the basic program. The software will be modified. She'll get a slightly new operating system. She won't be talking the same shit that she's been talking. So what the basic thing you need to do is up your price. She's gonna have to give you more towards the good. She's gonna have to be worth more. She's gonna have to do more. She just can't walk up on you, think she's gonna get back in just because. These are the times to try men's souls. These are also the times to try women's hearts. So that beta male or so-called beta male that she would have called herself settling for, all of a sudden he's looking pretty good right now. You might have to start screening your calls from them chicks that you don't want to hear from, because you're going to hear from them. They still got your number, they can still locate you, you're going to hear from them.
Here's another thing, and I want to welcome Shar to the program here. Here's another thing. Notice he didn't say anything about the alpha male. Now, a true alpha male would not make room for a beta male. A true alpha male, folks, will not concede his throne to a beta male at no time. And why I say that, I like to watch a lot of nature programs. So I equate a lot of human behaviors to what I see in nature. If there's a pride of lions, and that pride comes into that pride male line that's running that camp at that time, if he comes up against an adversary and he loses and he is banished from his kingdom, every seed that can't run away is summarily put to death. He is not going to allow that alpha male in that particular realm now. It's not going to allow that seed of that excommunicated alpha male, who is now a beta male, to survive. And that's the same thing that happens to a lot of these men when they go shack up with these women. They don't have their own place. So they go live with these women. These women have children, and these children don't like the male that took over the spot. So they rebel against that. Now, of course, it's against the law to kill children. But if it wasn't, how many of these so called men that do this would go into there and remove that child out of the house? So much so you got to handle your daughter, man. She ain't acting right. She don't listen to me. You give her absolutely no reason to listen. Want to welcome Shar to the program here. Hey Shar, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Greetings, greetings.
Good, good, good. You want to add something to the conversation?
Yes, I've been in the area of YouTube for a long time, and a lot of questions that you're asking, I have the answers to them. At least I have the response that I hear on the channels because a lot of the people I have supported, and I know the answers because I'm listening as I'm modding.
Okay. And if you had to surmise anything that I've talked about, how would you surmise my conversation today?
Your conversation.
Some of the, some of the questions that I ask you, sitting down in the audience, as you were thinking about, how would you answer those questions if I were talking directly to you?
I would say, as far as the virus being a means of getting women to submit to a man, I wouldn't say that would be the answer. Um, I also would be looking for an answer to how to survive as a people. That's what I would be looking for. That's the type of response. So I understand where you're coming from. That is what I'm taking from it. Here
Exactly.
come the women. Here they come because of this. But on my end, my question is I'm looking for the man to say, hey, this is going on. What are we going to do as a people? Because, okay, I got the woman part as far as you're looking for a mate. So that's where he's coming from. And that's what he's saying is going to happen. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what he says is going to happen. Okay, fine. We'll find out in July. But I would like some solutions. And I think even the men would need some solutions. What am I going to do? Because it's affecting everyone. It's not affecting just one gender. It's not
Absolutely.
affecting a high earner, a low earner, a middle. It's not um, taking no shorts. It's affecting everyone.
Right. Absolutely. This particular pandemic that's happening to us right now, it's not excluding anyone. This pandemic doesn't have a color barrier. It doesn't have a gender barrier. It just knows that this is what I'm here for. I'd like
Yeah.
to welcome Brother Jay Shine to the conversation. Welcome, Jay Shine. How you doing, young brother?
What's going on, brother? First of
Greetings.
all, I want to say, hey, y'all, my sister. I just want to say, we haven't had a proper introduction. Nice to meet you, Mr. DJ Music Man. Look, I appreciate your commentary on a lot of stuff that's going on here. It's good to see another brother, an older brother, who has more experience and a longer perspective on things to really, pinpoint what's going on. I've been in this space for a long time, as Charlie can tell you. And I've watched all the shifting and moving around, and it's been very unfortunate to see that at the end of the day, everything that we done to create a space for men to have a voice, at the end of the day, it was all about sex. All right. This is all it boils down to, fun and sex. Right now, there's a pandemic going on. Um, People are out of work. Thousands of people are dying. Numbers are going to be worse as time goes on. And literally, I looked on YouTube today, and brothers are on YouTube talking about the women, talking what black women are going to do, The hyenas, the hyena hierarchy. I mean, these are grown men.
Grown men.
You know what I mean? And this is not man stuff. All other men right now in their communities, in their societies, in their countries are trying to figure out a problem or how to deal with a problem. They're mobilizing. You know what I mean? You got men out there who are EMS, men out there who are in construction and still working, men out there who are driving trucks across the country to make deliveries. These are people who are in the real world doing real jobs. I'm trying to figure out what are these brothers doing in real life. You know what I mean? What do you got going on in real life? And and it has to be so lackluster that all you can do is come to YouTube and talk about the women. Look, we know there's an issue with the sisters. We know there's a problem with the community. We know that. At the end of the day, as men, the question is, what the fuck are we gonna do about it? Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to curse. Can I don't know, curse?
No, no problem.
Oh, okay.
No problem. Express yourself, brother.
Okay, yeah. Well, what are we gonna do about it at the end of the day? You know what I mean? That's the end of the question. It's not about debating if there's an issue. Okay, we have an issue. What are we going to do about it? These cats have no answers.
Right.
And they'd be the first ones to tell you or a brother like me that we have no answers. And the answer is really simple.
Right.
Every other group has some level of agency over their children, over their women, over the other men. They have some level of agency. The way that happens is collectivization. These cats are practicing hyper-individualism. That's what they're really pushing in this space. Hyper-individualism. All right? No other group operates that way. So when we sit here and talk about, let's take this side of it for a second. The black community is this. The culture is out of line. The culture is gone. The culture is terrible. The women are terrible. Okay, fine. But that's still our group. What are we going to do to fix it? No other man in the world has been in a situation as good as ours and turn their back on their people. What I mean is there's been other groups of people in the world who've been in far worse situations. I'm in Germany right now. You know what Germany looked like 70 years ago? It was bombed out.
Bombed out.
Men all dead, you know what I mean? And they, you know what I mean? They didn't go save themselves. You know what China looked like 70 years ago? After being,
I could only imagine.
Yeah, after being occupied by Japan for forever, and then going through a world war. They ain't had no economy, no nothing. So these other groups that get idolized, even if you look at the white man in America, the foul shit he did to African Americans and the colonization and what they did to the Indians, they still did as a group. There was no individual effort in making that happen. So no matter what it is, you're gonna have to come together as a group. That does not mean you change your philosophy or your habits or your hobbies. You know what I mean? We talk about having a higher purpose. So when you see another black man, you should see you. And how you calling yourself a black man, identifying yourself with a group, and you're going to sit here and shun the other half of yourself, which is the woman. It makes zero sense. It's zero sense to it. It makes zero sense. You can't get anywhere with it. Now, in a pandemic, these hoes, I'm going to call them what they are. These hoes that come out here on YouTube, some of them I used to run with, these hoes come out to YouTube during a pandemic and only talk about the women or what other people are doing. They're a bunch of gossip girls now. During a goddamn pandemic. And the truth of the matter is they're in the same boat as black women. They got to depend on the government and that white man just like they do.
Absolutely. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Again, you go all the way back through history. The very same things that they say black men went through as far as, the slavery, the Jim Crow and all that, they act like black women were excluded from that.
It's been a process. You're right. It's been a process. Some of these brothers, I'm sorry, I gotta say this. Some of these brothers call themselves thinking black men. Have you heard that? I was gonna ask you a question. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard a few of them say that.
Okay. You know what I mean? So thinking black men, you would think of the history. You would have a grasp of what I call the timeline, right? So if you was to draw a line on the wall, say a line that's 12 inches long, and you said at the beginning of the line, we're going to start this line at, say, we'll start this line at Alexander the Great, right? It's just a time in history. And everything that's transpired from that time to now, our time on this planet is a speck on that timeline. You know what I mean? And the question is, what are you going to do? And you can draw direct, lines to other parts in history that correlate to what's happening right now. What I mean is there are things that have happened in 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 25 years ago that led us to where we are right now. And I don't know how you dismiss
Absolutely.
that. I don't know how you dismiss that, the actual history of things. And Gats are talking about they don't want to be in this environment. So they're acknowledging that there are better environments, right? So that's why they want to SYSPM. They want to hop the fence. So if you're acknowledging other of the environments, the question is, who the fuck built those environments? And why are you not creating your own?
Those are the questions that definitely need to be answered by those fellas. Again, they say they want to create this better society, but how can you create something better if it's based on trashing the next individual? It's not better. And for those of us who tried to exclude history are doomed to repeat it.
That's true. That's true. And you know what? And I'm glad you said that because what we're seeing right now is not. If you think about it, it's not unexpected. We've always had do nothing Negroes amongst us. Everybody likes to look at the civil rights movement, and everybody in the era wasn't about that life. A lot of them was sitting at home. A lot of them were telling their kids, don't get involved in that mess. A lot of them were telling their loved ones, you gotta go to work, you got a good job going, don't get involved in that. Everybody wasn't standing up, you know what I mean? But the fact that we had enough people that stood up, that caused enough ruckus, right, to create enough of a wave. And that's why I'm like, you know what, my mentality now is like, I'm looking for that 10, 15%. That's 10 tone down about our future and serious about a black future. Because if the way we're going, we're not going to exist. And that's real talk. That's not hyperbole. That's not, fear porn, as BGS likes to say. No, that's real talk. And now you want to practice miscegenation? You want to do what I call voluntary miscegenation? I can't rock with that. That makes zero sense to me. All because you don't want to deal with the powers that be in the world. All because y'all don't want to collectivize as men and do what really needs to be done. And we know what that means. That means dealing with that cracker.
Yeah. Absolutely, there's no way around that. Now, how you choose to deal with white America, that's on you. I mean, you could be. This is something my grandfather told me long time ago, long before he passed away. It's been some years now, but he said, there's nothing wrong with dealing with white America. Well, he didn't say it like that, but just don't trust them.
Yeah, you don't trust nobody. It's all business. Asian people don't trust you in their store, but they're taking your money. And and as soon as they get their money, you go now. Nobody trusts you. Yeah, you go now.
Right.
Yeah, it's business. That's why when I end my streams, I always say business is life and life is business, because we don't have a business mindset no more. There's a lot of cats that run around talking about granocracy and calling people magos and saying you gynocentric because you still want to be with the black woman and all that. That's crazy talk. I want to be with my own kind. So you something else now. You a derelict or you an idiot because you want to be with your own kind. But push that aside.
Right.
Just push that aside for a second. You know what I mean? The reason why I say that at the end of my stream, business is life and life is business, because these cats are emotional. They're coming from emotional primal state right now. They're thinking and functioning like primates. They're thinking on all fours. They really only care about getting sex and then having this makeshift, unearned power. So they want to have dominion. Yeah, they do. They want to have dominion. They want to talk to them. Black women, they think black women should submit to them and any woman should submit to them. So I'm going to go find me a submissive woman, listen to the terminology. But you haven't earned it. You cats own no banks. You don't provide no jobs. No one depends on you for shit. So you want unearned dominion.
Exactly. And I couldn't have said it better. Well, you expecting for these black women to bake a cake for you, and you don't do anything to go get their supplies. You just tell her to go out and do. This is what I want you to do. No matter how you get it done, just do it.
Yeah, she had the job trying to climb up the ladder, and she might let her lift her skirt up one day, and then you want to beat her ass for it. But why was she there?
Because you're at home playing video games.
But no, I'm just saying, yeah, that too. But that's even worse. that adds more fuel to what I was about to say. When I was saying that, why does she got to work for another man? I mean, across the board, you know what I mean? You hear what I'm saying, brother? Like, it's not even like a small smidgen of black women. We're talking about the majority. 95% of black women have to work for another man.
Right.
And you wonder why you have what you have right now. You wonder why she's out of line, because this is something that's been going on. Now, I'm not blaming the brothers that are out here right now for that. We inherited a lot of this, right? The question is, what do we do to fix it? You fix it by creating your own shit. They don't want to do that. They want to play. They want to run out here. They want to run a DR. They want to run a Brazil and get their thrills. They don't want to build. They don't want to do anything. And you got irresponsible men like BGS that come out here and tell them, hey, so what? If that's what they want to do to get it out their system, we don't have time to
Right.
play.
So
We're not in that position.
right.
That's not our
So
position
what?
in the
So
world. We're
what?
not white, fam. We're not Asians
Right.
over here killing it. We don't have a country of our own either. We are American blacks. We have a different struggle and a different path, and we got work to do. After World War II, the Jews didn't start playing. They gave up all their silverware, all their all their love possessions, and they started putting them in banks and building wealth for their future, so they could put their kids through school.
Exactly.
They didn't say, "Oh shit,
And
they're gonna let us into America. I'm going to the beach."
right. That's just what I was trying to explain to one of the young men in that particular stream that I was in. He was like, "Well, fuck the collective. It's all about individual. It's all about individuality. It's all about me. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna forge my own way of living,
Yeah.
and that's how I'm gonna live." But my man, I've known too many people that can live without people. Yeah, there's a few of us that live off the grid, but
We
for the
still
majority
don't
of
live
us,
without nobody, because the thing is, you can live out in the
right?
woods of Montana, but that's still, you live in the country, right? So that means if you're living in the woods of Montana, the chances you seeing a Mongolian that's going to take land in Montana is slim to none. Why? Because your country has a military. You understand me?
Right.
You have borders that are protected, even though you out there in the sticks. So look, how far are we going to go with this bullshit? That's all I want to know. How far are we going with the
I,
nonsense?
I think they'll continue. I think, to be quite honest with you, I think their membership will continue. I think that their way of speaking will continue until guys like me, guys like you, and a few of the others that I've mentioned, until we, as they say, put them on blast, throw them under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you don't check that, rhetoric, it'll just continue. There'll be so many people that you hear things enough and they'll believe it. You know what? He must be right, because I don't hear anything in opposition against it.
Yeah, because and you know what's crazy? Like when I started pushing back against CISPM and calling out the fake red pills and calling out the incel behavior back in August, September, right? I had a lot of people who still came on my channel who were cool. And they'll be in the chat room and saying Jay Sean's a real one. But see, a lot of them don't come around no more because I'm not the wave. There's a lot
Right.
it's a lot of fanboy stuff going on. And it's really the unmanliest shit where you can't stand on what you believe and you gotta feel like you gotta be down. And this is online. This is easy work. You ain't even gotta these are people who don't even know each other, never met each other in real life. Me and Charles Willie go back and we haven't met in person, but we have a bigger, better, stronger relationship than these brothers have out here. You know what I mean? Who are on these panels and just listen to their favorite YouTuber or their favorite panelists go, but they just wanted to be down with something. That to me is unmanly. I would never encourage that. I would tell a young man to stand on your own square, find your own voice, do what you know is right, and stand on that shit, man. I would never tell somebody to follow me faithfully for no goddamn reason. That in itself is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Agreed. Char, you wanted to add something into that as well?
All I can do is add a high five and an amen.
And I love you,
There it
Shaw.
is.
You know what I mean?
I
And
love
love
you
Shaw.
too, Jay Shine.
Me and Shaw go back, we was running together for a while and we got to know each other. And Shaw is really good people, man. Solid people. You know what I mean? I will vouch for her any day of the week. She's solid people. And these are the sisters that we have out here. And what's weird to me is that we have a few Shaws around here and cats will ignore that.
Right.
They ignore that these women
You're
exist.
absolutely
They right there.
right. They're right there, and you're absolutely right. I see a lot of the sisters that come into these chat rooms. They'll of course they're free-minded, free-thinking women that, okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't agree with what he just said. So let me, since you can say that anyone's welcome to come onto your panel, let me tell you, or let me give you my reasons to why I don't. As soon as she comes on there, get that bitch up out of here.
You know what? It was the Char Willies and some other girls I can name that helped build the so-called manosphere.
Their spaces.
They were the ones
Build
running
their
around from they were running around from channel to channel. They were the original moderators. They're the ones regulating shit on my own channels when it all started. See, if cats want to start doing history. See, I've been around since 2012, and I've been around this space specifically since 2015. If cats want to do history, I was there on Blog Talk Radio when Obsidian first started. If you go back to his Blog
Right.
Talk Radio, which is still up right now, and you go back to his first 4 or 5 shows, I'm right there. And that's actually where I met Angerman.
Right.
And on Obsidian show. That's how far back I go back with this. You understand me? So I've been around, so I've seen this shit evolve.
Since you brought the brother up, no disrespect to the angry man, but when I first met the man, he was pro-black. He was pointing out the bad part of Black America, but he was also giving ideas of what we could do to make it better.
Yeah, and he was questioning the man's manhood for not wanting to step in and handle business. He used to sit there and tout about and be proud about all the so-called kids he raised because of all the single mothers he dated. You see what I'm saying? So
right.
Cats is all over the place, man. They just doing what they want to do. That's why on my channel, I unlocked my first video before I even got down with Angry Man. See, that in 2015, I had videos on my channel, and I hit them because my whole thing is, I don't mind being a behind the scenes cat. I don't mind contributing.
Right.
I don't have to be the main dude. I never wanted to be the main dude. That was never my thing. That's why I supported so many people in the manosphere. You know what I mean? I put money behind people, and I supported people, and I would play my part, and I played behind the scenes mission. That's really what I did. So I locked my channel. I didn't care. And every time I would cook on, Angerman's channel, there were people in the chat were like, yeah, man, he need to start his own channel. Jay Sean needs his own channel. Yeah, where's his channel? And I never bid on that shit. I never jumped on it because that wasn't what I was there for. He had the mic. I supported. He was talking the right shit, and I supported him. You know what I mean? So I don't need to be in. You know what I mean? So I was there for all of that. There's no argument with that. See, a lot of these cats that are now fans of his over there are new. You know what I mean? Some of them are old, and that's why I call them betas and fake motherfuckers. You know what I mean? I've called them out on previous live streams, and I'm not going to go into it too deep. You know what I mean? But I'm going to call it a spade a spade. We all know it was different. The platform Obsidian was running was a black conservative, anti-black, platform, and they coined this shit the community. They called it Blackistan and all that kind of stuff. Now look at the rhetoric they're using over there on Old Boy's channel. He's using Obsidian's rhetoric. He's calling the community. He's talking about busting 80 heads wide open while he's selling T-shirts on his channel. See, look, we're dealing with bullshit people, and I don't care how they feel about it either. The spade is a spade.
I think that's the problem why a lot of people don't get involved. It's again, I always liken back to I'd like to use history, but let's think about it. Let's think about this. If some white people didn't get involved with the wrongs of America, where would we be? If everybody stayed silent, where would we be?
Right.
As a people, yeah, of course we had a voice, but our voice was, summarily put to death, or your foot chopped off, or your child sold, or the biggest guy in the neighborhood being ripped apart for those who spoke up and spoke out. And until some facets of white America that had humanity about them, that had morality about them, they're saying, you know what, these people speak and talk the way we do. They think and they feel the same way we do. The only difference between them and us is the color of their skin.
And to go deeper, I always said, and I said this to white people I work with. I'm very honest with them, especially those right wingers at my job, those Tea Party types. We be having it out at the job. I be representing. You be proud of me. And I'm like, and I tell them, man, y'all always making racism our problem. We ain't racism not a problem. We put ourselves in racism, and now we're being reverse racist. That don't make no sense. Racism is a white problem, and white supremacy and racism will end when y'all end it. It's just that simple. When you stop practicing
it. I think I'm not sure if you're familiar with these things called the series called The Hidden Colors.
Yeah, Tariq Nasheed. Yeah.
Right. So one particular the guys were saying that what he said, and that's almost parallel to what you just said. Black folks don't have the problem. White folks have the problem.
Yeah. Booker T. Coleman, Dr. Kamani. Yeah, Kamani. I actually met that brother. Yeah, exactly. He said that. Yeah. It's a white issue.
It's a white issue. And how dare you black people not want to be out of bondage. How dare you people stand up to say we want our rights, we want equal, we want to be just as equal, we want to be to stand up as men and women and raise our families and prosper just as much as you do. And that's what these guys at Hilton Cousins were saying. That's what white Americans is still mad about. How dare you guys want to remove yourself from slavery?
Exactly. And that's your environment. So in that situation, when you have that history, and that's still the situation for the most part, especially economically, how can you sit online and worry about vagina all day? I don't get it. And what the girls are doing.
They
See,
do.
that to me, that's what I call, this is the term I used to use back in the day. This is what I call being bitch led. What I mean is that you want to sit there and hone in on the worst type of black female or females, period, right? And then you start a whole movement of trying to deal with them or respond to them or talk about them. So what you're doing now is your whole life is you being led by these so-called women that you're talking about. And you don't even realize it because
Right.
all the energy, all the time and money, like cats are donating money just to hear the word. It's like a YouTube church, right?
Yeah,
And this is the
absolutely.
gospel. The
I call
gospel, yeah.
I call it the Church of the Poison Mind.
Oh, I like that.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I
That's
like that.
exactly what they do.
And they'd be the first ones though to call you kind of centric. But all you talk about
Yeah.
is the girls all day. We ain't talk about money, we talk about business. I'm gonna tell you something, man. 50 Cent, I love quoting 50 Cent's song, is a song he called Riders Music. And in it, he had in the verse, he says, um, you said you're hustling backwards if you're chasing a chick. Stupid. Chase the paper that come with the shit. He's talking about economics and power. And there's no man out there who don't have nice cars, nice clothes, great salaries, who don't have women looking their way. They're not giving female attention. And 9 times out of 10, those women are willing to be cooperative. All right, that's
Yeah.
across the board, and it's for some of these brothers who want to assist them, and you want to hop over the fence so fast. The same thing applies. All right, first world women, because if you're going for first world women of different races, are not looking for no Pookie and Ray Rays. That's why you got to go to
No.
DR and places where they're poor. But if you want a first world woman, you
Agreed.
bring your brother over to Germany, you're gonna have to have some resources, boss. They got universal health care over here. They got universal basic
Right.
income over here. You know what I mean? You ain't giving. They
Right.
got their basic needs met.
Right.
And
Right.
prostitution is legal over here. So you come over here, you're gonna have your shit together. But the fact
Right.
that you want
You
to
just
find
can't.
somebody on their knees, right, so you can stand tall, it's actually a white supremacist mindset. That's how white supremacists think. For them to stand tall, somebody has to be on their knees.
Somebody. And last night when you were showing the videos, again, I was looking at the background,
Mhm.
and again, that reminded me of my time in the military when you pull into some of these ports, and you go out to town on Liberty, and everybody's poor. So they looking at the sailors and the Marines coming off these ships or coming
Yep.
in on deployment, to get that money, whereas three American dollars would in some cases pay 6, 7 of their bills.
Right.
So naturally, these guys figure, well, you want this money, Miss Lady, you know what you got to do for it. And they
Yep.
have that mentality, bring it back here with them. Like, okay, I can't get the good woman, but let me go find these women that are willing to sell themselves.
Hmm.
Which goes back
Mm,
to they're submitting to your resources if that's what you're looking at. It
Yeah.
doesn't
right,
matter. You
It's a
still
power
have to
dynamic.
have
Yeah.
the resources.
It's a power dynamic, and it doesn't go away. So instead of creating what you need to create, you're in the greatest country as far as you're part of it. America does have the greatest economic system. What I mean is that the ability to get rich fast, invest, get money from investment because there's so much money in the game. Just looking for somewhere to go. So if you come up with a real good idea and a hustle and talk to the right people, you can come up. You can find the capital. But even without that, just the fucking all the free credit that's running around in the system. You know what I mean? So this is
right,
a system where you can build, and then if you can take yourself as an American and set up shop somewhere else, maintaining your citizenship. See, that's what a lot of kids don't understand. I'm in Germany. The brothers that are over here are not German citizens. They're still in American status, which is beneficial to her. So if he has kids with a German woman, right, that woman is still part of the German system. So the kids go into the German system. So she benefits from the German system. These women out here, when they get pregnant, they get a whole year fully paid, salary. They get to sit at home. for a year, up to
Wow.
2 years. Yeah, that's how it rocks over here. Great system. On the flip side of that, her husband, who happens to be an American, whether he's white or black, doesn't matter. He's in Germany, not paying German taxes, right? He's not paying state taxes. Like I'm over here right now, I'm not paying state taxes. I pay property taxes on my homes, my properties, but I'm not paying
Hmm.
any other taxes like I would. Like if I was back in Virginia where I live, I'll be paying taxes on my vehicles and all that kind of stuff. All that shit goes away.
Everything.
All it goes away.
Right.
So all I'm doing is paying federal taxes over here. If you over here on some type of status, you're getting some type of housing allowance, right? So she's benefiting from you being over here, still tied to your country. It's the ultimate come up. So they're
Right.
waiting for you when they come over here. Of course, they nice and cordial. Of course, hey, chocolate. Oh, black guy, chocolate. But they'll do the same thing
Right.
to Brad if they ran into Brad, because Brad's over here too. It's not just black men.
Right.
It's white boys over here too
Right.
with their German wives or their Romanian wives, and they're taking advantage of the situation. Everything's a hustle. Like I said, everything's business, fam.
Agreed. I agree, and that's you say that, because if you hear a lot of these white guys, when they choose their mates, they look at it as, if you remember the movie back in the day, I think with Rodney Dangerfield in it. I might be dating myself a little bit, but um, I think it was, I can't think of the name of it, the movie right now, but one of the part that sticks out to me, I don't know why I remember this so well, but there was one of the professors. He was in pursuit of one of the female professors, and until Rodney Dangerfield came along, when he finally decided to propose, his way of
That's when
proposing
he
was
went back
like,
to college.
Back to school. That's
yeah,
our
yeah,
favorite
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
I know
movie.
what you're talking
school.
about. Yeah, he was doing the
Right,
somersault shit. Y'all know what you're talking about.
right. But remember the part where he asked the white lady to I guess just for her hand in marriage, and he used it as a business proposal. Let's have a merger, so to speak.
Yeah,
You know,
it's all business, man. I mean,
it is.
love is nice if it happens, but most love grows. You can't if you're true to the marriage, right? If y'all both have the right idea what a marriage is, like they used to, people don't have an idea what marriage is supposed to be anymore. But when they had an idea what marriage is supposed to be, marriage had ups and downs. And as life goes on and you raise kids and you go through trials and tribulations, you can't help but grow an affinity or love for that person. It was a
Right.
natural love that grew. Now it'd be nice if y'all liked each other initially too, but if you fell in love and you had the sparks and all that, that's kind of cool. But a lot of people that built society, how we got here, a lot of it wasn't based on these romance novels and these fantasies that we see on TV and the butterflies in my stomach and we live a happy ever after. No, what I mean, there was a higher purpose to a marriage, building a
Right.
family, building a legacy,
Right.
being part of your community. Most families had a trait. So this family over here did dentistry. This family over here was into carpentry, and the kids usually followed them. And they had a business. They had a farm family business. That's what built America until it went full corporate. You know what I mean? But that's what built societies, and you still can do that to a certain
Right.
extent. All these Asian people are coming over here doing that. All these people, these immigrants coming to our country, whether Hispanics or Asians, they're doing the same thing. But what keeps them alive is that they serve each other. And we go to the Mexican restaurant, we go to the Chinese restaurant when they never come to ours.
Never. Never. We'll have a black mom and pop store in the neighborhood. The first thing that we'll complain about, man, they charging us too much.
Yeah, you're not in there like that. Kind of
Right.
like gas right now. Everybody's at home, so gas prices are cheap because it's about supply and demand. So you talk about supply chain, people can't get off their feet because you're not going to keep buying them. There's nowhere to get rid of the stuff. You should be knocking down the
Right.
doors. If you can go to a Korean store to get some hair products just for $1 cheaper, you're going to do that. And it's like, and then we wonder why we have no power. Why they in there whooping your ass? I'm talking to sisters right now specifically, but that goes also to black men. It's the same thing in every other areas of life. They're whipping your ass because you're not taking care of yourself.
Right. Exactly. And you're looking to blame your problems on the closest thing that's to you, i.e., the
Yep.
black woman. It's her
Yep.
fault.
Yep.
It's her fault that I'm in this situation. It's her fault. It really is. I gave her my love. I gave her my time, and all she gave me was the boot.
Yeah. I
So
don't
you
care if it
look
was
at
her fault. I'll take it a step further.
right,
That's being nice. I'm not giving no outs. Fuck that. I don't care if it was her
right.
fault. Say it was her fault. You alive now. You a man now. What are you going to do? And their answer is to run.
Absolutely.
Their answer is to practice miscegenation. Their answer is to practice individualism. That's their answer. instead of doing the hard work of building a better future because they want to play.
In my lifetime, I've known black men that's dated black women that that they stayed together for 45, 50 years. If you walk up to them and ask them, did you have any problems? You damn skip it, we did. We did. We had problems. Sometimes it was rough. Sometimes I felt like I wanted to walk away from this woman or walk away from this man. But the respect that I have for the woman, or the respect that I have the man, and the respect that we have these children together, let's go ahead and see what we can do to fix our problems. But in a lot of places and a lot of these spaces that I've run into, again, I'm new to this, so I'm looking at it from the outside looking in. All I see when I go to these spaces is a bunch of garbage cans lined up with the feet of black women sticking out of them, because that's where they tried to put them at.
Yeah.
Wow.
Balled them up as they were experiments. No, this ain't the right one. She's not submissive enough. Put her in the trash. File 13, so to speak. Throw her in the trash. If she goes back, if something should happen to her, that she comes back with a can of act right, then we'll let her back in.
Yeah.
To,
And
to me, go ahead, Cheryl.
I was going to say, and all that you guys are talking about, or we are talking about, the response to that would be, you're trying to penis police me.
Hmm. And that's coming from a woman, fellas. A lot of us believe that appendage that we have hanging between our leg is the answer to everything. Baby, I got a cold. Well, come on, let's go back in the room and fuck.
You know,
Maybe I just got fired from a job.
It's disingenuous though, because when they come to the table though, it's a high-minded movement, and you're saving yourself so you can better yourself, so we can be better. Yada 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 yada. You know what I mean? That's how they're trying to frame it. But the truth of the matter is, it's bullshit. It's all about sex.
It is.
And like I said, unearned benefits. The same thing they complain about women. See, they say women want unearned benefits, right? You know? And there's a lot of truth to that. You know? Women create a lot of situations for themselves. They make choices they just shouldn't make and put themselves in bad situations, right? And then they want somebody, they have an entitlement of the society to come through and save them when they easily could avoid the situation they're in. Gotcha. I agree. 100%. Okay, cool. Now, you want unearned benefits too. You want somebody to be submissive to you and obedient to you, and you are providing nothing to them. Zero. But what? What's between your legs? All right? You know, and then you're saying, all right, if she comes to me, you know, this way, all right, fine. The women are not submissive. They're not, the culture's not right. Okay, so let's work on the culture. Let's create a new culture. Culture can be created. It can be fixed. The white people who came to America didn't have the culture they had in America. They developed a new culture. They came from England and, you know, and France and, you know, and Spain and, you know what I'm saying? And they created another culture. Later on, they came from Germany and some of the Slavic state countries. And they started creating little neighborhoods, and they got a little culture. You know how I know that from North? Because I'm from New York. And I've been around different neighborhoods and how the different neighborhoods are different. And they got their little different traditions and stuff like that. And then that stuff gets overlapped with American culture in general, and it becomes a little different than it is back home in the States. So like the Italians in America are different than the Italians in Italy.
Absolutely.
They created their own culture. And you know what I mean? So when I hear somebody like BGS try to chastise me on how old Asian culture is 6,000 years, but you bowing down to an American culture that's only 250 years old. See what I'm saying? It's hypocrisy. And that culture's been changing and changing and changing. And matter of fact, if you want to keep it funky, no one's influenced that culture more than we did. When it comes to the stuff like food and music and dance, high fives, white boys acting like us, talking like us.
Listen, they drive down the road and they're pumping out the black music.
Yeah. No, they are the black music now. You know what I mean? They don't need us no more.
Right.
Yeah, they got Justin Timberlake and
right. I hate to say it, but you know, once they got Eminem and Vanilla Ice and a few of those other boys, you know, they don't need us anymore. Yeah, it's
their shit now. 20 years from now, he's going to be the father of hip hop.
Right.
He started this shit. Yeah, they're gonna find one little thing he did that wasn't done before. Like he had 3 platinum albums. He was the first artist to platinum. He brung hip hop into mainstream.
Where did he
That's what's
get it
gonna
from?
happen. That's what's gonna happen.
Right, but where did he get it from?
And where you gonna get it from? Well, the question is, where was the defense? Where was the culture?
Hmm.
You can't go into Asian culture and just hijack their shit.
And I think, I heard you guys speak on that a lot, especially for some of the brothers that live outside of the United States. When you tell these guys, you just can't come over to Germany or you can't go over to Japan and use that same Americanized mentality of, we're the stronger guys over here. We come over here and you guys should bow down to us. They don't play that in other countries.
Hell no.
No, you don't bring that American stuff. You don't bring that American stuff over here. And a prime example, I've been in Japan on several occasions. When you go to the mainstream of Japan, you don't see a whole lot of American writing on billboards and signs and different things like that.
You know what's weird is that hip hop is one of the things that you go to like some of these Sisman Brothers channels, and somebody got on me about this in the back chat. Yeah, I said, well, I keep calling Sisman brothers because they are. All right?
They are.
Coonan and Sambos and Bedwinches, that's just part of who we are. All right? They're black people. It's our problem. It's something we're going to have to deal with. So I'm not going to act like it's not there. They're still my brothers. Right. I don't deal with them. I don't agree with them. I don't rock with them, but they're brothers. So when those brothers talk shit on black music and hip hop, the funny thing about that is the translation that's going to make them meet an Asian girl, especially overseas, or Hispanic girl overseas, is that hip hop culture. Or that hip hop R&B culture. Right. That's what's going to be that's what's actually going to draw you, that make her malleable to you, because she's not hardcore in her culture. She's been indulging in yours. So she's going to be dressed a different way, and you go get to meet that shorty over in Korea or Japan. You know what I mean? That's what's weird to me. And they sit online and shit on the culture. I'm talking about black culture.
Right. And they do it more than once a day. That's the thing about it that gets me. Again, that's why, they keep using this term mercenaries. And I want to think, maybe they did go look the word up and realize that's exactly what it is. And we are coining ourselves just after that. We're mercenaries. We're not here to help you. We're here to take from you by any means necessary.
Right. No allegiance, no nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of... Right, and a lot of reasons why they split up in so many different factions over there is because there's no true leadership. It's always who's the guy that wants to be on top, and it's basically because I want to make more money than you.
Right, so they're gonna sit there and live stream all day, just fussing about the other, YouTuber and how he ain't this and how he ain't that, and I'm the manosphere. I get it, man. I get what's going on. You're absolutely right. I just want them to drop the masculine part. There's nothing masculine about nothing going on.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing masculine about
nobody. A masculine man don't hop on a panel to argue with a woman. There's nothing masculine.
No, he does not.
You purposely go on a panel to argue with a woman. Hopping on, having live streams after other people's live stream, gossiping about what's happening in other sectors of YouTube. Really ain't got nothing to do with you, but you want to put yourself in it.
Into it.
That's it's a masculine behavior, and I don't care how they feel about it because they keep talking about me anyway. You know what I mean? They go live over there all the time, trying to throw me under the bus or throw the old members under the bus. And then when you say something back to them, they turn around like, man, see, they starting stuff. Very effeminate behavior. Right. Ain't nothing masculine about it. And when it's not hard to find me in the YouTube streets.
It really is.
They got my number. They know how to get in touch with me. If they got a problem with me, they can holler at me directly. But nah, they want to go out there and shake their ass for their audience. Gossiping, creating news. There ain't no news there. No one's even thinking about you. It's insane to me, man.
That's exactly what I've seen. Just everything you described. That's what I've been noticing. Again, hey Don Teasy, what's going on with you, my brother? Again, from what I've collected, and what I've seen since I've been around. It's more of those guys, again, and always in complaint mode, always in woe is me mode, gloom, despair, and agony, because I wasn't chose when I was a teenager, or I was in a single household to where my mother was treating me more as her lover instead of as her son.
Yeah. You know, it was weird. I never used those terms neither, like select male and jawline man. I never stepped in the club in my life when I was in my 20s, my teens and 20s. It was like, damn, man, there's too many jawline niggas in here. There's too many select males in here. I'm coming in that club.
Why?
I'm getting mine. I'm
I
in here.
got
I'm in
listen.
here right now. I'm getting mine. I see a shorty. I'm spitting. She don't want to holler at me. Here's my homeboy. Maybe you like him.
I,
Next. You know what I mean?
right
I'm not even thinking
again.
about what the women choose, who they
Now,
pick. Somebody gonna pick me tonight. I know that.
right, right. If you walk into the situations with your level of confidence, what you feel is, that listen, this is what I'm going. I'm putting on my best clothes tonight. I'm putting on my best smell good tonight, and my
Yeah,
intention is to go out here and meet someone that I want to talk to,
yeah.
whatever that particular interest is that I'm thinking about that time. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with us as human beings going out to find a good time. Sometimes that good time only lasts for a couple hours. But it seems to me these guys they live their whole life, their whole time when with just the idea of going out to have a good time and nothing else. There's nothing else important other than that 15-20 minutes they might spend in between that woman's legs.
That's
Nothing more
true.
important to them than that.
That's true. But that's all they want anyway. I don't understand what the problem is. If she's picking Pookie Ray Rays or Jawline dudes or whatever y'all want to call them, select males, I don't like those terms. But if that's who she's picking, okay, fine. You know what I mean? What you gonna do about it? Because the truth of the matter is, you just want to be them. You want her to pick you.
Right.
So when a man comes on YouTube and talks about what the women are choosing, you know what I mean? We gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. You know what I mean? So if you talking about in general, say, all right, fine. As a rule of thumb, black women are choosing, the type of men that's going to put them in a bad situation. Okay, cool. But when you start going into, well, they picked this type of guy and that type of guy, all you telling me is that they didn't pick you. That's all I
That's
hear.
it. They
That's
didn't
all I
pick
hear.
me.
That's all you're saying.
They
There's no
didn't
other
pick
reason
me.
to say it. There's no other
Right.
reason to say
And
it.
then you're noticing the kind of guys that they're choosing, i.e. that's how you can describe them so well. The guy had jawline, he was buffed,
Yeah.
he had this and he had that.
Yeah. We start going
That's
into
why that's why
details and shit. Yeah, and type of dudes, and
right. That I don't look at dudes like that.
I don't care.
I don't
I
go
don't,
I don't go into a club sizing up the way a dude looks about whether he has a strong jawline or not, or whether he got big hands.
you know who
I'm
does that?
looking at the
You know who
wrong
does that? You know who does that? Women do that. When that
women
girl
do
walks
that.
in, when a woman walk in with that blue dress and them heels and that gold shit around her neck, and then the girls turn like, oh, who she thinks she is? You know what I mean? They
Right.
doing that. That's what
Women
they
do
doing.
that.
That's what they doing. They do it to me. When I was debating
Right.
MOT, they were doing it to me. The girls are here for you. The girls are supporting you in the chat room right now. Why? Concentrate on the debate, bro.
Right. And
Concentrate on me.
again, I like to call them out when they call me out, Jay Sean. The guy BGS was saying, how many followers, how many subscribers you got? Oh man, I only got like 260 something, but is that a strike on me? That means I'm dumber?
Yeah, he does. He tried to do that to me too, man. But it's all good. It's all good. He said something to me like, the great thing about having 25,000 plus subscribers is that I get to hear from different brothers that are, look, man. The problem is this: the majority of subscribers all think alike, so it doesn't matter. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
They're coming to you for the
That's
same
it.
goddamn thing. They're coming for the
The
fair
same
porn,
thing.
the bullshit. You know what I
Right.
mean? They all see you as some type of fatherly figure, and they want to hear the nonsense coming out of your mouth. It's not a 25K diverse group of people. All right, they all coming for the same goddamn thing. All right, because if it was diverse group of people, you would have more than 25K subscribers. The fact that you've been on
Right.
YouTube 6-7 years and only got 30,000 subscribers is a slight against you.
Anyway,
You do this shit full time.
full time. Three,
I'm
four
not. I'm
times a
not a
day.
real YouTuber. You know what I mean? So that shit don't mean nothing to me. Let's get back to the argument.
That's exactly it. And I think that's exactly the way I handled that. It's like, wait a minute, man. We ain't talking about that. What is it? What was you talking about? What did you say? Anyway, let's get back to that. Let's get back to what's on the table here in front of us. Not whether I have more followers than you, not whether I have this or you have that. That's not what we're here for. What we're here is for instruction and correction. Some of us need a little instruction and some of us need a little correction. Now, let's between you and me and all these other brothers and sisters in here, let's figure out a way to sit down and have a I say like a barbershop, a hair salon kind of conversation with all the argument and the bickering that goes in with it. Because basically what we're trying to do is uplift our own kind, not shit on them at any chance that we get. It's easy to tell people what's wrong with them, but don't do it not unless you have some solutions to it.
You know, I gotta say this because I gotta say it somewhere because he keeps coming up. Some I'll just say it here because Chuck Willie's here. There's no way to refute this. About a year ago, and dating back a couple of years before he ended it a year ago, that same brother had a BGS for Women's channel where he was dealing with black women all the time. He had nothing but black women. It was a black women's channel. The black women hosted it. He was there, as and they invited guests on it, but it was a panel full of women. And he took the channel down, but that's what he had. And my thing is now it's all cis men. See,
right.
You can't tell me you 60 years old and all of a sudden you had an epiphany. You know what I mean? You don't have any core, constitution to you. You just go with the wind. You're out here. You was pro-black back in the day. Then you became in more, and you rubbed that in more. Then you was pushing MGTOW and red pill commentary. Then you went to some black pill shit, and then that brung in, the cis-fem stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, man, this shit is all over the place. And then while he was doing that, before he got to the cis-fem and black pill shit, he had a women's channel. And the women like Chuck Willie and Classic Ruby and all kinds of other women from this area, this space will be up there. And he was so-called talking to the women. And he even claimed the gender war was over at one time because everything was good in his land. The women liked him on the channel. Everything was good. They all respect the BGS. So then it was, there's no more gender war. I mean, this shit's been all over the place. So I'm just giving you a quick synopsis of what's happening just in the last year or so. I ain't gonna bore you with going back 3-4 years. And it's
Go right ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah. But what Don Teasy said, "What's up, Tizzle?" And it's just straight up and out. And this is a book. This is a fairy tale. This is nonsense. It's not reality. This is just cats living vicariously through this YouTube shit. And trying to squeeze every little penny because these are not big YouTubers, all right? I can go to channels right now where they just talk about travel. They got hundreds of thousands of views per video. I mean, just people talking about all different types of things. They ain't got nothing to do with this stuff. And they making money hand over fist. So if you really wanted to hustle on YouTube, it wouldn't be doing this nonsense. This is cats who just love this nigga shit. They got these little YouTube churches they created, and they want to hold on to it, and they're going to hold on to by any cost. They'll shift their positions, they'll change direction at will, which is really hoe shit. All right, I don't operate like a hoe. That's why the stuff I'm talking now on my channel, you can listen to, and then you can listen to my very first video back in 2015, June 2015. I'm saying the same thing.
Right. And consistency. I will say that from the videos that I've seen, a lot of you guys do. You're consistent. You don't jump off one bandwagon onto the other. Again, you guys do point out the fact that we have some problems in our neighborhoods, but you also give solutions to what we should and what we shouldn't do. Where these guys are just straight trashing the neighborhood or trashing but in particular the women that live in our neighborhood as simply because, as I see it, because they can't have one. That's just how I see it.
Jay Shine, can you please give us one for the home team? It's all about the girls.
It's all about the girls.
Yeah.
It's all about the girls.
Listen, folks, I would love to sit here and chat with you folks some more, and maybe we can pick this up in next Saturday's session. But I have to excuse myself. I have a radio interview that I'm about to do here in a few minutes. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and for those of you that jumped on the panel there, it's always enlightening to me. It's always refreshing.
Hey, can I say something real quick before you go?
Certainly.
Real quick. I want to say
Certainly.
thank you for coming to the space, giving a fuck. I mean, giving a damn, giving enough, caring enough to come to the space to address certain things. I appreciate that.
Right. Thank you, and that's the same goes on the other side of it. Without you guys leaving up these different streams, and without you posting this material, I would have really nothing to. I won't say combat with. It would just be me going into a battle against, as they say, I'm a battle against a hyenas, and I'm a meerkat. So with that, I want to again thank everybody, and you guys keep up the good work. Unfortunately, this is something that we have to do in our community. We have to offer construction and corrective criticism. Some of them won't take it well. If you guys, there's a link that I made the other day, and for those of you that's seen that already, it's we need to perform that exorcism, because a lot of them need that.
Right.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank y'all very much. I have someone waiting over on the other side for me, so I will see you guys a little bit later on. And again, thank you for your time and the things that you do to try and straighten up Black community, because we need all the help we can get.
Roger that.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Everybody have a great day now, and be safe out there. Stay away from people. I hate to say it like that, but right now, stay away from people.